Strip any leading and trailing white space from text series. 3 examples here. 3 different ways to do this. What are the tools? How about trim? How about trim and clean? How about trim, clean, and substitute? Brad Williams, Excel Prime. You downloaded a bunch of stuff from who knows where. And this is the outcome. Look at this nightmare. Let's do a little cleaning. Brad Williams, Excel Primed. Strip any leading and trailing white spaces from text. Well, I led up to this point. I showed the trim function. And so now you should be familiar with it. Long ago, we used the clean function. See how that stuff works. Here we go. We have 3 different examples here. We have stuff here. Okay, we just have a bunch of characters, and you can see, well, we have a bunch of spaces before and in the middle, and I guess there's probably a ton in the after. And well, anyway, you get the point. What can we do to clean this stuff up? Well, we have the trim function. We have the trim and clean function. And then we have the trim, clean, substitute function. Do we get carried away here? The question is, what tool will take care of this as easy as possible? Well, will trim take care of this? Removes all extra spaces from text. Clean removes all non-printable characters. What are non-printable characters? I'm trying to remember where I buried that information. I had an example. I'm trying to remember what I do with it. That is not characters, okay? When you use character 160, those are recognized. But sometimes you're going to download stuff and it's very foreign. How's that? You can't remove it using the trim function. Well, let me see if I can find it. Pause. Let's say you are in a note tab or notebook environment and you try to open up an Excel worksheet. Well, when I try, this is the output, PKK and whatever. Well, clearly the Excel worksheet won't open in a work tab, or I use Note Tab Lite or something like that. It's a zillion years old, but it does the job. But clearly you can't open up an Excel worksheet unless it's in Excel. You can't open it up in one of these text-related software programs. Here is another situation. We have these spaces and all that stuff. The question is, what tool can we use to get rid of? What is this? Is it junk? Is it spaces? Is it non-printable characters? That's the problem you're going to run into. If you're dealing with delimited information, all that means is you're pulling information from a database, and you could have comma delimited, or it could be some other format. It's endless. And you're going to have to go in and clean it up. Some of that stuff you can clean up using the tools within, like text to columns. Well, that'll clean up in a snap. But if I go to text to columns, this stuff ain't going away. There's no way to pull this out using text to columns. Well, how about trim? Equals trim. We're learning on the fly here, guys, gals, everyone else. No. Trim doesn't know what to do with that. What about substitute? Find and replace text. So here we have trim, clean, substitute, characters 160. That just seems like a lot of darn work in order to get rid of some spaces. Let's do this. Let's see, copy. Let's see if this works. Let's just put in here that nightmare situation. And that's Tom wished that, well, whatever. And guess what? It did. It cleaned up. It got rid of whatever that is. How about clean? Equals clean. And go up. So there you go. Trim, keep it as simple as possible. Trim did its job. The question is, equals this, equals this, equals this. And it's false. So something does not jive here. So something here, this output is different from this output, is different from this output. What is it? I don't know. But we're getting a false here, and it could be my typing. Nope. C5, 10, 10. Let's copy down. See if, control down. you could see that there's a different, you could see here right off the bat that trim doesn't know what to do with that. So I would expect a false there. How about equals this equals this? And I suspect, so these two match. This formula and this formula, the simple trim does the job. Now what about equals this formula equals this formula? And it does. About equals this equals this, and that's true. That leaves us with what? Equals, if this is equal to this, and this is equal to this, why do we have a false? C5, C10, C15, C10, C5, C15, C5 are all true. Go back. C10, C5 is true. C15 and C5 are true. C15, C10 are true. C5, the point is, I'm trying to find the easiest way to clean this stuff up. We know if you see stuff like this, we can't use this. Trim and clean take care of it. We have this very, very complex, and I would never ever want to have to deal with this character function because I don't like the character function. Be sure to check out our extensive courses, which include Excel data and text manipulation for advanced users, beginners, intermediate. We also have this great essentials, the A to Z for advanced users, the comprehensive beginner level 1 and 2. Then we have our advanced formulas, strictly formulas, great set of courses, which we have a beginner level 1 and beginner level 2, this intermediate level, and we have this advanced level. Click on any of the links. There's a short video that explains everything about the course. Check it out. Point is, there are a lot of ways to clean this stuff up. If I know it's just this, something simple like this, I'm going to use this. I'm going to use trim clean because it's going to take care of this unreadable. Okay, I'm going to go as quick as possible here. We're going to go off on a bit of a tangent. We have this gap here. See that gap? I went in, I inserted these character 160s. What's a character 160? Down here, it says a non-breaking space. What's a non-breaking space? Go up here to symbol, type in 160 if it's not already there, and this is it. It's just a space. That's it. The question is, or the various tools we looked at, will they remove it? Well, remember, just to back up here, if you're trying to insert a function, you're going to need to remember to start with an equal and put quotes around your text. Then remember, whatever you want to do in terms of the function, make sure you're putting the concat in there. That's the only way Excel will read this. Look at this big gap here. Notice here, we have we have two spaces. If we look at the output from trim, what's the problem there? You know there's spaces there. How many? Well, there's no way to tell unless you want to do a len and do all that. What I suggest is copy, paste, special, and just look. Go in here and go 1, 2, 3. There's 3 spaces there. Ouch. You don't want that. Trim can't handle this char 160. How about clean? Nope. We have a trim and clean. What if we put a substitute in here? Down here, you see where it says substitute? We want to substitute whatever car is doing and put in a single space. Here we go. Trim, clean, just throw in substitute, B5, character 160. We're going to substitute 160 with a single space. And what do we have? You don't have to do a cut and paste, copy, paste special. You can just visually see it. There's a single space there. So if you find yourself in a position where the trim clean is not doing the job, that also includes the non-printable characters, then throw in the substitute. Brad Williams, Excel Prime.